Alright, the project at hand right now is with this tractor. Now, in the 8 or 9 years I've had this tractor, this thing has been very reliable, except for one reoccurring issue that just happened again. So the problem is, the bottom of this tractor is not very well protected. And I was on a land clearing job, and a stump kind of rolled up under the tractor. Alright, and this is like the 4th time it's happened. It caught this steering cylinder and bent it. And it bent it pretty good this time. The tractor's not really usable. That cylinder's just leaking out all the power steering fluid. So it needs to be fixed before the tractor can be used. So let's take that cylinder off, get it rebuilt, and then let's try to make some type of guard for this thing to stop this from happening. Alright, this shot right here shows how bent that is. Alright, let's fix this. Since this is like the 3rd time I've done this, I'm good at it now. So these lines got to come off right here. Alright, so since this is going to be apart for a while, I'll mark these lines. Using colored zip ties is a good way to mark them. Especially, I mean, this is easy since there's only 2 lines, but sometimes taking off something that's got more than 2, so. Good way to not lose stuff is just put it right back where it went. Alright, so there's a good view of it. Alright, so let's send this out, get this rebuilt. Alright, so it's a few weeks later. I just got this back, 215 bucks. Alright, so let's get that reinstalled. There. All right, one thing that's important here, one time I had one of these hoses rub on that thing, the pulley, and ruin it. So I just gotta make sure they're away from it. All right, those are hooked up. Check out this line I made here once. This was a piece of brake line that I used the compression fitting, and I had to make this bend in it and flare that fitting. That's been working well though. All right, let's finish this cylinder. Whoops. All right, this side's got to go on first. All right, that's how you do it. All right, so that's all on there. Now, I know this is really tempting to just leave it and be done and say, all right, let me just be careful with it. But that's what I said last time. So let's do something better this time. The reason I've never made a guard for this before, it's kind of hard to do because it's got to move. It's got to protect this area here, which can change in length. So I think I'm going to try to put like a piece of metal here to here, because this doesn't move. Wait, I got an idea here. So I'm going to put this piece of steel like that, and then it's going to slide in a thing, which is going to be welded. There's a piece of leaf spring. I'm going to cut that and weld that right to the axle. All right, so let's catch the front of that axle. Let's go. All right, we'll cut the spring 6 inches. All right, so I'll finish welding that later. Should I make that too tight? Now for our angle iron, let's see, we need it to go to there. Not that low. All right, I just noticed something here. This axle, I don't know how I didn't notice this. This axle is cast iron. See how the weld just kind of broke off of it there? That welds, cast iron stuff doesn't really weld. I mean, it kind of does, but it's terribly. Let me change my plan a little here. I mean, that didn't hurt anything, but that's not gonna work. That's turned all the way, but see, that's not easy because look how much closer this gets to that. Ugh. People always say, oh, that you're drilling too fast. Look, that's as slow as it goes. And the other thing about that, this is a toy drill press. I had to trim this out for that grease fitting. All right, that's a start. All right, so I'm good with that. But see, now this needs to be able to move. All right, so with that bolted on there, let's just turn the thing back and forth and see anything weird happens. All right, so this is kind of what I'm thinking here. So here's my piece. I'm going to cut that out. And I'll take another piece of angle iron and weld it like that to keep the piece. See how it's pushing it down? All right, here's the problem I'm seeing here. Since when this is bolted on here, it's all the way flush against this thing. It's pretty much at the level of the bottom of the rod, or a 1/4 inch, not even. Now when it's here, we have a 1/2 inch, which isn't a problem, but when it's turned all the way in, it's hitting right here. All right, I got an idea to fix that. All right, I gotta get longer bolts now, but all right, see, it can't be all the way here like I wanted it because it's not going to be in this far. It's going to be out right where this tire is. So it really needs to be, all right, so this is good information. So it really needs to start right where this cylinder is because it's good to be like out here.
All right, I just messed with this a while. I just moved this back. It was hitting the tire. And it keeps bending. Let me add this piece of rebar right there to stabilize it. Cool, I'm good with that. Let's take it all off, paint it, or take it all off, weld it, and paint it. Well, that looks pretty good. It's not rubbing any tires or anything. And that should protect that steering cylinder from getting damaged again. All right, let's go try the thing out. Okay, this area here, this ditch keeps filling up with leaves. Let me clean that out. All right, well, that looks pretty good. That ditch is cleaned out nicely, and I was doing a ton of steering, pretty much cranking the wheel back and forth full every time, and everything's looking good. I've been keeping an eye on it. All right, there's one more spot that needs a little maintenance. All right, here too. I planted this sycamore here, but it's not making it. Let me get that out of there. All right, I got that stump out. I want to plant like another decorative tree here on the corner of this pond. It's just a little too open. All right, one more spot. All right, I had planted this willow tree here, but it's not really doing anything, so let me get that out. All right, that looks better. This spot could probably use like a willow tree or something. I should try again. I like all the trees that are growing on that island. I dug this pond. I was gonna put a duck house or something on that island, but it's I don't know, the trees are looking good. And there's I planted these apple trees down here. Looks like 2 out of 3 of them are doing pretty well. All right, one more spot to fix the tractor. I got a few ruts in the lawn here. That happened a couple weeks ago. I was coming down that hill with my dump truck towing my Hitachi, which is heavy, in the rain, and I just didn't want to come down this turn at an angle. I thought the trailer would jackknife or something, so I kind of came down a little straighter instead, just to not be diagonal on a hill. All right, let's just fix these ruts real quick. All right, so that went pretty well. I'm glad I took the time to put that guard on that cylinder. Now I'll just keep an eye on that because, you know, in case something starts wearing out or doing something weird. But I just did it. But I just used the thing a whole bunch and it seems like it's working fine. Now, being that everything here just bolts on, you know, that design could be, you know, cleaned up a bit. And I'm sure there'd be a market for those, selling them, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that's had problems with the steer cylinder. Now, other than that steer cylinder getting smashed on this machine and other parts getting smashed, this is a very reliable tractor. But that's one thing I kind of look at a lot now when I'm looking at tractors, is how well the bottom of them are protected. And some are definitely better than others. And that's kind of why I put it next to these 2 skid steers, because a lot of people who would be in the market for a tractor like that would probably be also considering a skid steer as well. So that's one big advantage to a skid steer. Let me show you the bottoms of these machines. So you can see on the bottom of both of these skid steers, there's nothing exposed or hanging down or open whatsoever. The entire thing is just a big steel plate, and that means this machine can drive pretty much anywhere with no worries about getting the bottom of it damaged like the tractor often does. Same with on this skid steer as well. See, it's just one flat plate, nothing to break at all. The job I had broke this machine on, I probably should have been using a skid steer instead, because, you know, this does a pretty good job. I was pulling out a bunch of stumps. I'll put the link for that video in the description. And after I pulled out all the stumps with the excavator, I needed to just smooth out the whole area and pull away any little branches and roots, and I was using this machine to do it. And towards the end, one little like stump popped up and caught that cylinder. So hopefully that guard will take care of that, and I'll try to be more careful with this machine. I'll try to use the skid steers more on jobs like that because they're kind of better at running over stuff. And just an update on these skid steers because they haven't been in any videos lately. I replaced this one with that IHI, and that IHI is a nicer machine. But this one has been working fine since I put that computer in it, so that's good. This one here has been broken almost a year now, and it needs a spool valve. It locked up. I took it out, had it rebuilt. Then the thing was leaking down bad. The guy rebuilt the spool valve again. It's still leaking down. Then we rebuilt the cylinder. I didn't think it was a cylinder. That didn't fix it. The thing needs a spool valve, and the guy kind of disappeared on me now. So it's, and it's this. If anyone has a spool valve for this, that's what that needs. I mean, it's kind of usable, but not really. So, but at least this is working again. So I have another job lined up for this right now. So let me bring that out. Right, Levi? And it's almost your birthday. You turn 13 in a couple days. Yes. All right, well, that was fun. Let's go work on something else.